the role of threats and threatening behavior is really important in understanding why women stay in abusive relationships. So, for example, a woman who doesn't have any children and doesn't have any pets might experience the verbal abuse and the physical abuse and have low self-esteem, but at some point she will work up the courage to leave the abusive partner. And if she doesn't have anyone relying on her, like children or pets, it might be a little bit easier for her logistically to pack a couple of bags and sneak out of the house when her abusive partner is at work or has gone down to the bar or something like that. But if she has anyone else in the household who she cares about, the batterer is going to know that she cares about her 2 children or her dog and her cat. And very, very often, batterers will use threats as a way to control their victimized spouses and get them to stay. So it could be something as simple as saying, it could be a direct threat like, you love your dog, and if you leave, I'm going to kill your dog. And you know the domestic violence shelter isn't going to accept animals, so what are you going to do? Or it could also be a very implicit threat in terms of the abusive partner is responsible for picking the kids up after school and saying something as simple as, you know what, after... I'm not going to pick Johnny up anymore, and I know you're stuck at work all day, so I'm just going to go hang out with my friends instead. Okay, that was a bad example.
That's okay. You can give another one.
But, again, the importance of threats. Batterers will not only threaten to harm children or pets or even material possessions like clothing, but for example, if we're thinking about that intersectionality between race and immigration status and gender, we can much more easily understand, for example, why a woman who might, for example, be in the United States without any legal paperwork to prove that she's here, her husband might threaten to report her to the police or Homeland Security if she leaves him. So he can sort of keep that threat of deportation hanging over her head and say, if you leave me and go move in with your sister, I'm going to call the police and tell them to come and raid your sister's apartment, and they're going to deport you and your sister and all of her children. So there will even be this extra added addition of guilt hanging over that woman's head along with the threat. So she might strategically decide, it's better for me to live in this household with my husband, even though he hurts me, rather than being deported back to Mexico along with my sister and all of her children.